Chase Thomas podcast. My nephew needs me to record. See, I already hate it. I hate it.
All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Chase Thomas Podcast, where I'm still the aforementioned Chase Thomas, coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee. Everything HQ. Dark mode has been assembled for South Carolina weekend at night. I will be in the building for that one. It's going to be an absolute delight, but that will be talked about at a later point on this very feed. Tonight, it's NFL Super Friends, as the guys I have with me on this very show are quite familiar with, because they are just a couple of the Super Friends. To kick things off here, JP Acosta of SBNation.com is here. JP, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. It was a hectic week of football, honestly. Very hectic, very wild, but it was fun.
Without a doubt, that was probably, I think, the most fun week of football I've seen in a long time. Like, there was so much scoring. Yeah, Chase, we getting it done? Are we figuring out the quad box? Ladies and gentlemen, the quad box. Welcome
there we
in.
Go.
Jarrett Bailey, which is me. And then on the left.
Oh, we didn't get it.
Rotating the squares.
No.
Oh,
no.
Over again.
I was gonna say,
Come on.
You did the
Come
same
on.
thing 3 straight times.
Finally, the Rock has come back to the bottom left square.
We did it.
I'm hot, man. That gave me so much pressure. I need a producer, man, because I'm Jarrett Bailey of USA Today and everywhere else just popped up, and right as we got started here, and I look down and I see Jarrett for the good folks watching on YouTube.com. So they got a show here of me trying to assemble and getting the right Brady Bunch. Look, goes. I am sweating how much pressure that was for me to get all that going. So Jarrett, good evening. How are you?
Not good. T. Higgins left his hands at home, and it cost me on my gambling habits tonight. So not happy. Not happy. So
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if anyone else pays attention to this, but anybody that posts on Twitter about the whatever it is, daily fantasy stuff. What is the company?
it's usually what is that? Underdog. Yeah.
Underdog. Yeah. Everyone loses constantly. Everyone is constantly losing. I don't know why they pay money.
Seen anybody that posts one of those Underdog fantasy things come back and say, "Yep, it hit."
It's always like, "Oh, I won $40." It's like, you did 6 of those things. You're under $37 right now.
It's the most degenerate stuff too. Like, it's
Right.
just it's the weirdest prop line.
They get so excited about, they're like, "Well, I got the odds were like plus 7,000." Like, why do you think? Because you had 16 prop bets. How many that's what it works.
I will say I did hit a parlay last night for Steelers Raiders, so I'm like basically even for the weekend. Actually, I'm actually a little bit over because I did hit another one earlier on Sunday. But oh man, I'm fuming right now. Like, I know I'm presenting myself as calm Jarrett, but internally I am Hades right now. I am fuming.
Well, we don't want that
coming out of my ears.
Well, hopefully the podcast can help.
Will you give me the money I just lost, Chase Thomas?
No, you got to learn. Just like Evan had to learn from drinking from Wednesday to Sunday. You have to trial by error. You have to deal with it. You got to be an adult. You got to take control your action. JP walks 7 miles across Epcot. Like, we all make our choices in life, and we just have to. We live and learn. Jarrett, I can't assist on that, but you'll bounce back next week, or you won't, because that's gambling.
Very good, Chase Thomas.
Also here, Evan Sowards of 49ers Hub. Evan, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm exhausted. I'm very tired. It's been a long week, but I'm here now, and I'm excited to see you guys.
Oh, I do have an announcement.
Uh-oh.
It's not a fun
You're
announcement.
pregnant?
Whoa.
Close. I have officially I'm gonna send a fax saying I'm back, because I have officially unretired from Tinder.
Oh. I gotta
Yeah.
say, Evan, JP, I don't know if you were like me. I had no idea where that was going. It kept
had
going,
no
and I
idea.
didn't know what that
Wait,
was.
hold
No
on.
idea.
Wait, are we talking like Tinder, like literally Tinder, or like just all the dating apps? Because isn't
Oh,
Tinder
dude.
trash?
All of them.
Well, I mean,
Tinder's
like-
probably the better one out of
No,
any of
Hinge,
them.
dog. Hinge.
I got
I met my
banned
wife
from
on Hinge.
Yeah, Hinge, dude. Grow up.
Hmm?
Stop using Tinder.
I can't. I got banned from Hinge like 3 years ago. I don't know why.
Wait a minute. Wait,
Hold on.
Wait,
I don't
Hold
know.
on.
I don't know.
I thought this was gonna be like,
What
hey
is
guys,
happening?
hey guys, I'm gonna try and get back into dating, but no, it's like, no, my probation is over and I can come back. You like harassing
Ban-
women, Jarrett? What's going on?
Hinge,
Absolutely not.
Hinge is arguably the most wholesome dating app, and you're getting banned from that one?
I think I know what did it, and it wasn't anything like crazy or anything.
Oh my
so
God.
when
You gotta start talking. Like you gotta explain. Like you're making too much airtime.
We didn't even bring this up. Jared did this. Like I don't like. He brought all this up. What is
I'm
happening?
excited, guys. I'm gonna jump on Tinder.
Because I got banned from Hinge.
Got banned from
What?
Hinge, so I only can use Tinder or Bumble.
if I had to guess, it was so like it's like one of those like goofy like the writing prompts or whatever, the things that you put about yourself.
Again,
And
too much words. You should just get right to the point.
I'm trying to find the best way to say it, but for one of them, I answered with like a very goofy answer that was very obviously a lie, and I noticed like a couple days after I did it, I tried getting on, and it's like somebody had like reported me like one of my matches. I was like, what the hell? That's strange. And
Hold on.
dude, I haven't
The
tried
jig
it
is
since.
up.
Listen,
Yeah, dude.
Jarrett, we can start this whole podcast over if it's necessary, but you're going to tell me what the lie is.
I promise you, I cannot remember it off the top of my head. It will hit me during this podcast, and once it does, it's gonna be like vomit. I'm just gonna blurt it out because I will be excited about remembering it.
Well, Jarrett, I will say, as the one person here with a really aggressive mustache, I wasn't expecting it to be someone else that would get banned on a dating app.
It is one of the stranger things to happen to me in terms of just the most random shit. But it did happen. And I haven't tried, you know what? I'll download it right now just to see if it's still a thing.
I don't know if I don't
I'll
want to
update
know
you.
because
Oh,
we're
oh my
we're
God.
connected to the same IP addresses right now. I'm not trying to
Look,
get
man,
like,
I'm not.
you know what I mean?
I don't need the feds.
I don't need
knocking
like
at
the
my
guilt by
door.
association.
I don't need the FBI agents showing
This
up
is-
in my door.
Whoa.
Hey,
all right.
this is what you get for listening to Motionless in White with all that weird makeup and stuff. I'm telling you, bro, it's not good for you. You're as
Motionless-
they say, you're scaring.
You're scared. No. That's literally what happened. You scared them so much. They banned you from the app. Some lady
Oh,
was
you're
on the
scaring the
app.
hoes, Jared.
saw that lie and said the jig is up. I'm getting this man out the paint. You are done.
I'm like dying over here where it's like, oh my God, what was even the prompt? It was like, what's the perfect date for me? It's like,
I know it wasn't that.
oh,
That's the
man.
first time I've ever heard of anybody getting banned off a Hinge, dog.
Might be keeping that crown for a long time, dog. I don't know if I'll ever meet someone that guy. Chase, do you understand that literally you just because your face is away from the camera, it literally in the middle it says the Chase Thomas podcast. You can't hide from it. It's your podcast. You're like trying to hide as if they like, oh, maybe they won't see me.
No, I'm just laughing, and I'm like, this laughing on camera. I don't know. Maybe I'm self-conscious about laughing on camera, but
What do you have to be self-conscious for? You didn't get banned on a dating
no,
app.
I'm saying I'm laughing. Like it's the laughing.
Oh,
I hate that
my
I'm here
God.
right now.
I don't know what happened here. This was all
I-
volunteered by Jarrett.
Chase, I'm not gonna lie. The podcast has gotten progressively more chaotic. This is only a matter of time.
Oh my God. I don't even know what to do. Do we dive into an NFL podcast? Do I just hit a clap? Do I do a clap and just know that this is where we start the podcast over with intros and everything else just for Jarrett's
you're
benefit?
You're posting.
No,
this
this is
whole
all.
thing.
It's all gotta
all
go.
going on.
All
I'm
going.
ready.
All of it.
Oh my
All of
God.
it.
I'm ready
Okay.
for it.
But anyways, we could talk football.
Oh
now
my
now
God.
that we've
Probably-
gotten Jarrett's crimes out of the way.
There were. Oh my goodness.
You-
y'all are gonna frame
you
this in
criminal.
the worst possible way.
You're the one
Oh,
who's
I
been
didn't
vague about it.
You know what? Jarrett
I
probably
told you what happened.
You know what? Jarrett probably got banned for being too nice.
That's
right.
exactly
No,
what it was.
he
Probably.
cares. They were like, you care too much.
I do.
That's right.
I do.
It wasn't scaring the hoes. It was making the hoes feel too comfortable.
So, well, that sounds even worse. Oh, by the way, JP, can I be just glad that you said that? Because I feel like way more comfortable when you say scaring the hose, it just sounds funny and cool. When I say it, it's like a little
All right,
like
hold
dangerous.
on. We're gonna get the moment.
It's a
of
very
truth
two
here soon.
Americas thing going on.
Or are you gonna just go into your emails and be like,
Yeah.
Hinge banned?
This is
Hold on. They emailed me my verification code.
They're like literally Hinge is like, we are banning you because you said you are 6 feet tall and you are
Maybe
clearly
that's
5.
what it was. No, I don't lie about that.
A girl was
A
like,
girl-
nah, I
a
did
girl
I-
pulled out the virtual measuring stick and pulled
she's
up
like,
your
I can
height.
see
It
the
was like,
shadow in the background.
By the way, hold on. Ready here, and it is still not on.
Your account has been removed. What does it say?
Nah, man.
Yeah, it just says your account has been removed. If you are subscribed to a Hinge subscription, you can cancel your subscription here, and then it just gives a link. And then if you want to appeal it, then it gives you a link for that.
You know what?
No way.
You know what? Hey, after this podcast is over, appeal it, and then let's get it.
I
all
am
figured out.
very, very like, I don't know what it was, so maybe I will just to see if they tell me what it was.
I think we should do that after the
An
podcast.
investigation.
Yes.
Oh man, gotta tell you, of all the different ways that I ever thought I'd start a podcast, especially the NFL Super Friends, this was near the bottom of anything I thought was possible. Jarrett Bailey, wow.
Speaking of being blocked from making a connection, the Chicago Bears.
Oh my God. We'll save the Bears. I mean, the Bears are just truly
Can
like the
we
amount of
save the
Bears stuff.
Bears? I don't think anybody's
I don't think anybody can.
No, the amount of stuff that's happened just in Chicago over the last week, like it's just we don't need to get into that right away because that's just a lot of sadness and it's just bad. And on the flip side, though, let's start with our teams as we do each and every week on this very show. It was a bad week for most of the teams here on this very program. We'll get into a certain Atlanta team in a bit because JP was watching some film about what the Detroit defensive line did to my Atlanta Falcons offensive line all Sunday afternoon. But let's start with the man of the hour, Jarrett Bailey. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Sunday Night Football. It was a mess. It doesn't seem enjoyable. Matt Canada well on his way to becoming a presidential ticket potential in the 2024 campaign with his promotions from within here in Pittsburgh. Job well done. The Pittsburgh's happy with the job performance of Matt Canada through this point. So he's getting a promotion, working exclusively with Kenny Pickett, and you beat the Raiders. And I don't have any idea what the Pittsburgh Steelers are. What did you come away feeling after they survived the Vegas Raiders over the weekend?
I mean, I will say this. It was very strange watching a Steelers game and watching like Matt Canada adjust to like what was given to him. We saw like they were utilizing play action, which is something that they just rarely do. And on Pickett's second touchdown pass, they utilized play action. It was a play action pass, and he hit Freiermuth in the end zone. It was strange to see. I think that Matt Canada watched Warren Sharp's video where he just badmouthed him for like 10 minutes and was like, all right, you jackasses, I'll show you. And just tried to show that he can be a little bit different. And I think he knows he's kind of on his last breath in terms of, okay, I think that this promotion was more of like, okay, look, this isn't working. We're going to give you all the access you need, all the tools that you need. And if it still doesn't work, then you got to go. So the offense, it definitely looked better. Calvin Austin had the long touchdown reception. They got Jalen Warren involved in the pass game as they've been doing, and he's been making the most of his touches. George Pickens had 4 catches for north of 70 yards. Pickett made some plays. He looked a lot more comfortable than he had in the first 2 weeks, which wasn't a very high bar, but the confidence was there, especially as he started. They established long drives, which is something that they didn't do in weeks 1 or 2. The run game wasn't great, but it was certainly better, where they could at least turn around and run it a little bit more. But still, the offensive line, in terms of running the ball, it's still not great. But it was better. Now, it was against a Raiders team that doesn't field the best defense in the world. Outside of Max Crosby, they're relying on a lot of, more or less unproven guys. And Steelers, in large part, kept Max Crosby in check. And I want to see if this can be a thing that can be established long term. So it's great that it happened. It's nice to see, the offense looked competent. Certainly wasn't, an elite unit or anything like that, but much better than it was in weeks 1 or 2. Now that if they can do it again against Houston, who I think personnel-wise is actually a lot better than they get credit for and is quietly a pretty good defensive roster, then the confidence will continue to rise. But it was against the Raiders, 1 game, turned into 2, and go from there.
We should also mention, you got yourself a punter. The dude has a freaking cannon. So this stats here from Presley Harvin, which is a great NFL punter name. He had, let's see, was it 6+ punts with 6. A 53.8 average? That's bonkers. Like, all-time great punter. So that's good. Even if your offense stinks, Jarrett, you've got an elite punter.
Well, I'll say this about Presley Harvin. That was his first really good game as a pro. They drafted him in the 7th round, I think in 2021. And they had a punting competition during camp because he had been just that bad throughout his career thus far. But he won the competition. He's been pretty solid this season, and he was really good last night, which is nice to see, especially on that last punt where he boots it and he puts the Raiders inside their own 15. It was a nice performance for Presley Harvin. I actually gave him after each game, I do game balls for the stand-up performances, and I gave Presley Harvin one just because for all the crap that Steelers fans have given him, got to give him flowers when he does well, and he played well.
Steelers defense from Bleacher Report I thought was interesting. So you won the past 2 weeks, and I don't think it's a coincidence that the Pittsburgh Steelers have won the back-to-back weeks when they have 10 sacks, 7 takeaways, and 2 touchdowns from their defense. I mean, where does this defense rank, everybody, on this for Pittsburgh to this point? Is it top 3 in the league right now? Top 5? Where is it?
It's got to be top 5, I would say. Now, there's still some flaws, and very few defenses are completely perfect. Like, they gave up 13 catches to Devontae Adams, who was just having his way with them.
Except over the middle.
Cole Holcomb made sure that he laid some wood yesterday, which shout out to Cole Holcomb. But Levi Wallace and Pat Peterson, Patrick Peterson's the oldest starting corner in the league right now, and he looks every day his age. Levi Wallace is very inconsistent. He had 2 interceptions last night, but inconsistent.
Funniest interceptions of all time.
Very strange interceptions for Levi Wallace. And then the one that Peterson caught was basically Jimmy just saying, whatever, yeet. Hopefully somebody catches it, and it was the Steelers defender to do it. So, I give Tomlin and the defense credit because they knew going in, okay, Jimmy's going to toss up 2 or 4 gifts per game, and they caught 3 of them. So, in terms of where they rank, there's still flaws in the secondary at cornerback, but still what they're doing up front has been magnificent. I'd say a top 5 unit is pretty, respectable placement for them right now.
Evan, you enjoyed Jimmy Garoppolo without the 49ers backing. You were tweeting about that. What did you see from Jimmy Sunday night against the Steelers?
I mean, I think I tweeted some things that I don't know if I fully meant, but it's really kind of interesting to me. I think Josh McDaniels is a trash coach. I think since what he did in Denver, I think he's a trash coach. I think he's just basically hung out on the backs of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I mean, what he did when he took the job in Indianapolis and then backed out on it. Every step of the way, I feel like it's just been very obvious that this is not a serious person. So I'm not really a fan of him, point blank. Jimmy Garoppolo also played like shit. It was really not great. Like Jimmy kind of played like a person who, I don't know if he knew what he was doing. I don't know if he was like just kind of panicking. I don't know if he's giving up or whatever. But that mixed with, I don't know. I mean, like I want to say like, oh, well, he doesn't have the scheme, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't have the scheme, whatever. But like they have a really good offensive line, right? Weren't they like ranked like, I thought I saw something saying they were like the top rated offensive line in week 2 or something.
Whoever told you that's a liar.
Okay, so maybe that's it. But so that helps my position a little bit because I'm like, well, this is what any quarterback who's on a bad team or maybe a not as talented team would do. I think the Steelers defense is good. I think the Raiders are in complete shambles at any given moment. And I think, you're going to see Jimmy win probably I think we said like 8 or 9 games at best. I don't know what else you would expect.
I think this is a pretty dumpster fire situation here. That field goal, and Josh McDaniels saying after the game that he needed 2 possessions. It's like, no, it was 8. What are you talking about? And he like stayed with it. I still don't understand that line of thinking at all. Yeah, no, the Raiders are quite bad, and the AFC North, weirdly enough, like through 3 weeks, I mean, with the Bengals tonight. I mean, the Bengals had a really, really low, I saw going into this game, really low playoff odds because of what happened before this game against the Rams tonight. But the AFC North, man, like the Browns have a 70% chance of making the playoffs to this point with what I saw. And then you look at it, the Ravens, obviously the highest, and the Steelers right there too. I don't know. The AFC North is just, I feel like, going to be a jumbled mess this year. You're looking, all 4 have their flaws, all 4 have their strengths. I have no idea what to do 1 through 4 with this group.
If you want to hear a funny stat, the Browns offense has allowed more touchdowns than their defense has, which is just hilarious. Defense has allowed 1 touchdown through 3 games, and then the offense gave up 2 touchdowns against the Steelers. So I think you said it. Each team has their obvious flaws. Where the Steelers, okay, Canada, you don't know what they're going to give you offensively each week, but the defense is going to smash you in the mouth. And the Steelers' approach is let's try to limit the points, and rather than try to outscore you, they're just going to try to limit your points. The Bengals right now, it's similar to what it was last year. Slow start, but now you got Burrow dealing with a calf injury in the offense. Chase looked like he was getting things back on track and finding his mojo tonight. But T. Higgins did not play well. They're still figuring things out, and that's what happens when you don't have a training camp or a preseason for your quarterback. Baltimore, I said it coming into the year. Are they going to stay healthy? We're going into week 4 already. The answer to that question is no. And they kept shooting themselves in the foot against the Colts, which, JP and I talked about this earlier on my pod, where we're just like, yeah, it might just be a mulligan week for some teams, and Baltimore might be that team. That could be the case. But we've seen Baltimore, this isn't new for them, where they just can't stay healthy. This is a 3-4 year issue where a lot of their top talents just don't stay on the field. So, and then Cleveland, okay, what's Watson going to look like each week? Their defense is very good too, but every team has their flaw. I'm not banking on either of them to be world beaters, but if I did, I would still turn to the Bengals just because they've proven it more recently. And they will be the first team since division realignment to win the division 3 years in a row, should they do it this year. It's a very up in the air division, but all 4 teams you can make a case for.
I like it. Evan, your team, the San Francisco 49ers, were you at this game or no?
I was, yeah.
How was it? How was the experience? Walk us through Niners game this weekend.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it was a short week. I actually went with some Giants fans and some 49ers fans. So we all got an Airbnb in San Jose, and I flew in Wednesday night at like 10:30 p.m. It was a late flight. Basically woke up in the morning, went and got ready, brunch, went to the tailgate. I'm sure some of you guys saw the video, but there was a guy running around that looked exactly like Kyle Shanahan and was dressed exactly like Kyle Shanahan. He had a playbook. He had the headset, like everything. Like he was running around the tailgate. He made me do a beer bong, which I crushed. It was a fun time. You know, the 49ers fans' first home game. Like I cannot stress this enough. I really do believe the 49ers fan base is probably got to be top 2, top 3, maybe the best tailgaters. Like the different cultures, the different music, the different foods. It's just so much fun. It's a great experience. But the game itself, I was not happy. I'm not to say I was doom tweeting or doom whatever, but like I'm sitting here going, okay, this is the Giants. The Cowboys beat them 40-0. I'm not expecting that because I don't think, week 1 is a little bit different than week 3, but I was expecting them to handedly beat, this team. I said before the beginning of the game, I'm like, it's not going to be a blowout. Kyle Shanahan always plays down to his opponents, but like it was a one-score game going like into the late third quarter. Like the first half was not great. It was really, honestly, like the Giants were very much so holding their own. And the score, to me, was not a good representation of how that game actually went. Because obviously the score at the end felt like, they got destroyed. But yeah, man, it was a one-score game. It was really close. I was really stressed out. Were
you stressed out? Did you ever actually feel like the Niners were going to lose?
I didn't think that they were going to lose, but so I've said this before and I'll say it again. Where I am at with the 49ers and where I think most fans should be is your expectation right now is the Super Bowl. So if I'm just thinking about a fan and a football team and I'm just having fun and watching, no, I'm not worried about the Giants. But everything I watch with the lens of, is this enough to win a Super Bowl? I remember in 2019 on your podcast, I've said this a million times. Every time I watched these games where they would hand the ball off all game long, I said to you, I'm like, well, if you want to win a Super Bowl, eventually Jimmy's going to need to throw some long passes, and that will come back to bite him in the ass if he doesn't get those reps. Then he lost the Super Bowl by overthrowing Emmanuel Sanders. So when I'm watching games like this, it's not that I'm like doom freaking out the end of the world, but I am going, okay, if this team wants to win a Super Bowl, can you get away with a game like this in the Super Bowl? There will be no mistakes. You can't get away with these types of things. You can't have a one-score game against a bad team and then expect to win the biggest game of the year. Like, a lot of things have to happen. You have to, that's the lens that I look at it. So a lot of people would be like, oh, it's 30 points again. Oh, a lot of people would be like, well, they did it without Brandon Ayuk. And I agree, but I also think like this is a team that you could have scored 40 points. Like it could have been more lopsided in the second quarter, the third quarter. It shouldn't have taken all 4 quarters to be like, oh, okay, they're going to win.
I guess I'll provide the spin zone here a little bit.
Please, yeah.
And it's the fact that Brock Purdy didn't play that great and you scored 30 points. Like that's the biggest thing here. Yeah. Brock Purdy did not play that good, and you still managed to score 30 points.
Well, but let's say though, let's be real. Brock Purdy played like shit in the first half.
Oh yeah.
He threw two gifts to Giants linebackers and defensive backs, and George Kittle played great cornerback on one of them.
In the first drive, I counted 4 interceptable balls. And like, again, can you really complain with 30 points in a win? Not really, but like, okay, here's something that I did want to talk to you guys about. On one side, I'm like, they're throwing all these interceptable balls, right? But they're not getting intercepted. So, it's like if a tree falls in a forest and nobody hears it, didn't make a sound. So it's like, on one side, I want to be like, well, I'm worried about Brock Purdy's throwing. Like, I'm worried about his accuracy. It might come back to haunt him. But on the other side, like you see like Rams fans or Eagles fans or someone talking shit on Twitter. And I'm like, well, he hasn't thrown a pick. So what? Like, what are you going to complain about?
I don't think it was I don't think it was a case of a tree falling in the forest and no one saw it. I think it was a case of a tree falling down, but it didn't go through a home, so it didn't do any damage.
Right.
Like, we still saw the tree fall, but it was just harmlessly in the middle of nowhere. That's kind of my take on it right now. Like, it's something to worry about if it continues going forward, but right now it's okay. Go ahead, JP. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's early. I think my thing here is it's better to be lucky than good for this game. At
Right.
least for early in the season, it's better to be lucky. Sometimes it's good to have those games happen, like where yeah, you look like shit. You still manage to score 30 points, but there's still meat left on the bone for this offense. And that's probably the scariest thing when you look at the NFC and the NFL in general, is that the offense has not played that great for the 49ers. And there hasn't been a game that they've scored under 30 points in. It's going to get better from here, which is, optimistically, it gets better from here. And that's tough for everybody else in the NFC, because the defense looks like it did not play. The defense looked phenomenal again. Like that's just you knew that was gonna happen going into the game. But
It kind of just feels like them and the Eagles are at the same level, where even with their worst or their struggles on offense or things they banged up a little bit, this, that, and the other, playing with their food with lesser competition, they still have such a good defense that the floor is so high with the Eagles and the Niners that they can have those lulls.
What I would say is this, and this is my trying to be positive, not panicking opinion. It's week 3. A lot of things are still getting figured out. Nick Bosa still, I wouldn't say he's not at his 100% yet. There's a lot of things that they're still figuring out as a team. I don't think they're running at full speed, and they're winning handedly. So I do think they are the best team in the NFL. I just am a 49ers fan that has watched them, where I thought they were the best team in the NFL, lose some of the biggest games in the past 20 years. So I don't mean to sound like I'm freaking out, but it's just hard not to look at it through that lens. What I will say, my God, Fred Warner is the best linebacker. And I get it. I get it. Ray Lewis I get it. But how much more of Fred Warner playing the way he's playing right now do we need to see? If they win the Super Bowl this year and he plays 2 more seasons very similar to how he's playing right now, when do we get to start having the greatest of all time linebacker conversation?
For what it's worth, I think he is up there in terms of post 2010 linebackers as one of the best. Because post 2010, you got Bobby Wagner, Luke Kuechly, Patrick Willis, Farrell Bowman, Fred Warner. You can make a case for Fred Warner being ending out that top 5.
I think we have a similar LeBron, Michael Jordan conversation 10 years from now, where we're you have to understand that the game was very different when Ray Lewis was playing, and it was a very different style of play. And Fred Warner, when he was playing, was a much different style of play. And I think I'm very okay with that conversation, but he's just unbelievable.
I do think the conversation around Fred Warner needs to stop being best linebacker in the league and now starts to need to be shifting to best defensive player in the league. That's where he is right now in terms of how valuable he is to a defense in a league where you try and get all these passes over the middle of the field. He eliminates that entire area by himself. He's like a great box-to-box midfielder in soccer. He's just everywhere. He's negating everything. Offenses change their game plan to throw out on the edges on the Niners defense because you cannot throw over the middle.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you can measure with any number that you want, and you can also watch the game. It'll back it up. He's one of the best defensive players in football right now.
Some final thoughts. Javon Hargrave, probably, in my opinion, is the best free agency signing of any team this year. If you have a better answer, maybe let me know. Isaiah Oliver, again, playing well. And
old friend Isaiah Oliver.
Right. I think people were kind of worried. Nick Bosa got a sack again. Things are going really well in a lot of different places. I was very happy to see that Elijah Mitchell got 11 carries this time. Christian McCaffrey still had 18 and 5 receptions. So like, I'm worried about his usage in a 17 week season, but overall, I'm very happy with where the 49ers are right now.
And as someone who goes to these high school games every week, like I don't know if y'all are keeping up with like carries at the high school level. 41 carries for this kid here locally, and I'm just like, ooh, high school carries are wild still. Like there are some
17-year-old.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
Yeah,
like it's way more common than you would think. It's just it's kind of wild where you're like, because I'll be taking notes and I'm like, what is that? Is that 30? Are we at 30 and it's the third quarter? Like how many carries? Oh man, it's wild. Last thing on the Jaguars, who now have a very online quarterback who posts emojis following games to remind folks that he's keeping watch and that things are actually good. JP, are you freaking out about what CJ Stroud and a certain fullback did to the Jacksonville Jaguars at home yesterday afternoon?
In the event, I was mad as hell. Like that's just a normal fan reaction. Like you let Andrew Beck take a kickoff return for a touchdown. You let a fullback stun on you. That was really bad. But ultimately, I think they're going to be fine. They'll be fine. I think the offense is struggling right now because the execution is just bad. Like they're pressing too much. When you play a style of offense like the Jaguars do that doesn't have – they rely on the 10 to 15-yard passes over the middle of the field. They're very much – and I said in a story that I wrote earlier today – they're like DeMar DeRozan, how DeMar DeRozan plays in the NBA, where you can shoot those three-pointers if you want, but you're much more comfortable shooting contested mid-range jumpers, and that's cool. That's a great way to live, but it makes the margin for error a lot smaller. You cannot mess up on any small thing, and the Jaguars are messing up on the small things right now. I mean, you saw the throw Trevor Lawrence made in the first quarter, the absolute beauty of a slot fade to Calvin Ridley, and Ridley just drops it. I think the week 1 game kind of put we looked at Calvin Ridley through like rose tinted glasses. We're like, oh, he's back at 100%. When like, nah, he's not yet, at least. I mean, this dude hasn't played football in 2 years. It looks like he hasn't played football in 2 years. He's slipping on routes. He's dropping passes. That's gonna happen. It's really just execution. They'll be fine. They're gonna be okay. I think the defense has played really well the first two out of the 3 weeks. This last week was just a really bad pass rush game. They'll be fine. CJ Stroud is good. Like he's capital G good. But the Jaguars are gonna be fine.
Who's calling plays now? Is it Peterson? Like what's happening there? Is it just a play caller issue?
It's Press Taylor, but Press Taylor called plays the second half of last year too.
Okay.
Like this isn't like Press Taylor's like calling bad plays. Like, no, it's not that. I'd say it's more of who's doing what. Like there's a lot of Jamal Agnew, and there was reason Jamal Agnew played a lot of snaps on Sunday was because Zay Jones was hurt. But I mean, there are screens to Britton Strange that should be thrown to Evan Ingram. Like that's not on play calling. That's more on who's in on those plays. Like it's just the small things, And I think going to London for the next 2 weeks will help them kind of get away from like local areas.
No, you're going in the grinder, sir. You're going into the Falcons' house in London. It's tea time. We're rivals this weekend, sir. It's 9 a.m. I'm blowing up the group chat, and it's going to be great. I'll have my coffee ready to go. Desmond Ridder may throw a couple field passes past 10 yards. We'll see if they get feisty overseas across the pond. Who knows?
Bro, that Toy Story game is just going to be Desmond Ridder throwing and getting intercepted by like Buzz Lightyear for the Jaguars.
Hold on. Stop you right there. Desmond Ridder doesn't throw picks. He would have to throw consistently to throw picks. The man doesn't throw picks. Not worried about that in the slightest. Now, am I worried about Arthur Smith installing more than 2-man routes with a bunch of dudes in max protection every snap, seemingly? Yeah, maybe.
There were pros and cons to the Falcons. There were pros and cons for the Falcons offense. The pro was Kyle Pitts led the team in targets on Sunday.
Yes.
Good job, Arthur Smith. Congratulations. The con here is Kyle Pitts looked like he was injured on most of those plays. And also, Bijan Robinson had 10 carries for 33 yards. And Tyler Algier.
38 passes.
Yeah.
38 passing attempts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's insane.
For 201 yards.
It wasn't great.
38 passes for 201 yards.
Why are you guys
5.2 yards per attempt?
Why are you trying to like act like you're the Brady Patriots throwing 40 times a game when you have Bijan Robinson, maybe the only good thing in your offense? Like,
so I think this is I think it's also a reflection of how the Lions played. The Lions basically kind of kicked the Falcons' ass up front. That's just, they couldn't get a lot of stuff going in the run game. I mean, even outside of Bijan, Tyler Algier had 7 carries for 12 yards. They weren't generating anything on the ground. So of course you have to you want to force Desmond Ridder to make the throws, force him into actual drop back situations. And I just haven't seen enough from Desmond Ridder to be like, hey, this guy can do that, especially outside the numbers. I mean, the one big completion he had to Drake London at the beginning of the game was Drake London being like 5 inches taller than the DB that was guarding him. And he just he mossed him.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like I think Desmond Ridder is so confident over the middle of the field that he will throw hospital balls, which will get his players killed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think there was a string of like 3 straight passes. They threw it was like dagger, and then there was another over route where one of them went to Jonnu Smith, who got destroyed. He got up slowly. Then there was one to Drake London, who got destroyed for an incompletion. He got up slowly. Then Mac Hollins got decleated. And when Mac Hollins is getting hurt, like, you actually did something wrong here. So
Man doesn't wear shoes.
He's basically if Lobo was an actual like football player, but
Who's Lobo?
He's a DC villain.
Okay. But
Desmond Ridder just doesn't, I don't see it. I really don't. And I know it's like one game, but it's going to be tough to win games. It's going to be tough to consistently win games if your only offense is run game and RPOs. You have to.
And I just wonder how much of that is Arthur doesn't trust Desmond Ridder. How much of it is just injuries? How much does he not trust the offensive line? Because Desmond Ridder's got 1.3 yards per pocket press or pocket. What is the stat? Pocket
time to throw.
Yeah, like he is and it's something bonkers. Pocket time, but just the average time in seconds that a QB has in the pocket before he throws the ball. The pocket collapses due to pressure. So 1.3 seconds for Des.
You know what offense would work really well for the Falcons personnel? Kyle Shanahan's offense.
I don't know. The offensive line really sucks. Like, the offensive line is just bad. And they've drafted badly.
Chase, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The 49ers have had a trash offensive line since Kyle Shanahan joined the NFL as a head coach.
You have Trent Williams at the left
on
tackle spot.
One side. Have you seen the right side? The
Mike McGlinchey's holding it down, right?
Mike McGlinchey.
That was a joke. That was a joke. I'm doing a bit. Hold on, NFL people. I'm doing a bit. That was a bit.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you could say
I saw all y'all get ready. Jarrett almost jumped out of his seat again.
I mean, you could.
Jarrett was about to get banned on another.
I was thinking the exact same thing. He's got to get us banned from StreamYard. All right. Anyway, JP.
Mike McGlinchey did hold down the right side because their best offensive line was in 2022. But I wonder how much. Like, I think you're right with Arthur Smith not trusting Desmond Ridder to actually like throw the ball downfield, but how much of that is also like maybe that's just the Arthur Smith offense? Like, there isn't a lot. I mean, even like Tennessee, you had a lot more verticality and explosiveness, and you can't say it's not because they had better weapons. I mean, Drake London is really good. Kyle Pitts is really good. It might be the quarterback. Like, that's going to be something they have to figure out. And again, you're going to London. This might be a time to figure it out. But I don't know, man. I came away from watching that Falcons game. Like, the defense played really good. Like, for all intents and purposes, the Falcons defense did as good as you can against the Lions, especially up front. Offense scored 6 points and couldn't move the ball. and that's mainly on the quarterback.
Kyler Murray's second best team odds for next year his next team is the Atlanta Falcons at number 2. Cardinals
That'd be fun. That'd be fun, but Kyler Murray doesn't throw the ball over the middle of the field, so
no. But it's one of those where it's getting painfully clear week over week that Desmond Ridder is not going to be the Atlanta Falcons opening day starter next year. That I don't think, but I also still think the Falcons are going to win the NFC South. Jarrett, are the Miami Dolphins the best team in the AFC right now?
Oh, I was gonna get real spicy
right now. I would definitely listen to the argument. If they played the Chiefs tomorrow, I would pick the Chiefs to win. But the argument to be made is obviously there. Like, they've looked dominant throughout the first 3 weeks. They just dropped 70 on Denver, who, for all intents and purposes, has a respectable defense in terms of their personnel. I'm not gonna, like, if somebody came to me and said, "Oh man, the Dolphins are the best team in the AFC," I wouldn't be like, "Oh my goodness, no, they're not." But if they were to play, I mean, they play Buffalo this coming week, and that game is going to be a movie.
Where is it?
Is it in Buffalo this first time around?
I think you want that in Buffalo now if you're the Dolphins, not later on when it's cold.
In Buffalo.
Okay, that worked out great for Miami. Not freezing cold yet. That worked out for them.
Both fan bases are going to be toxic as hell, regardless of the result. If the Bills win, it's just going to be, Josh Allen owns Miami, which, I mean, to be fair, for his career, he has. And if the Dolphins win, it's, going to be, more of the same for the Dolphins fans in terms of saying, yep, they're absolutely, the juggernaut of the AFC. Right now, they do look like that. They put up 70 points, 726 yards of total offense without Jalen Waddle. That is saying a lot. And again,
what was the most impressive part of them scoring that many points on the Broncos to you?
Establishing the run game the way that Mike McDaniel wanted to, where you have Devin Achane having one of the best debuts we've maybe ever seen. He had over 200 yards, where Mostert tore up the defense as well. Just overall, they were incredible.
About him, the running back, I'm not saying he won't be great, but can we, people are talking about him, and it's like he was getting carries when that defense had fully given up. I'm not saying he's not a great back. I think he probably is a great back, but that defense gave up. They were broken. They were not trying. There were holes every single, there was a reason why everybody was scoring. They gave up.
I also think it's like Jarrett said, the way that Mike McDaniel actually wanted to work his run game in this year. We finally saw it come to fruition with not only getting Devin Achane back, but now you have Teron Armstead back healthy. And you did a lot of stuff with Teron Armstead on the Achane touchdown. You had Teron Armstead pulling out in front of him. You have a guy where you can get him out in space, and you can basically create hey, you're going to take your DB and you're going to hit him, see what happens. I still think the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC, mainly because I'm just not going to pick against number 15 for the Kansas City Chiefs.
But do they have something when you think, if you had to forecast based on what you've seen from the Dolphins at this point, right, is what the Bengals did to beat the Chiefs, obviously, in the AFC title game 2 years ago in Kansas City. You look at that. Is the blueprint, because it's a very different style that Mike McDaniel's running than Zach Taylor. Is there something to them being able to go into Arrowhead with their style and be able to kind of dominate the same way the Bengals did? And kind of also, do they have the defense to give Patrick Mahomes the same kind of troubles that the Bengals did?
I don't think they have the defense right now. I think they have the pass rush. I think Jalen Phillips is a star. I think Christian Wilkins rocks. Bradley Chubb is still a quality second guy, but I still have a lot of questions about the secondary. I have questions about outside corner. And as long as Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are on the other side, I'm going to choose them. And I think the point about the Bengals is a good one, but I also think this is a very different Chiefs team from that 2021 team that lost the Bengals in the AFC title game. This team actually has a defense. This Chiefs team actually has a defense that is really good. And I don't think to this point the Dolphins have faced a player of the caliber of Chris Jones yet. And they probably won't until they face the Chiefs and Chris Jones. They probably won't face a guy like that. But it's going to be very fun. Like I said, I still cannot choose against Kansas City now that everybody's fully healthy. And you can see what the Chiefs offense is now that they have their number one receiver back.
And in terms of like what the Chiefs are doing defensively, we can't understate how well that they have built on the defensive side of the ball through the draft, where you look at Willie Gay, Nick Bolton, L'Jarius Sneed, Trent McDuffie, Leo Chanel, George Karlaftis. All of those guys are homegrown talents. And even on the offensive side of the ball, Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, Isaiah Pacheco, like Reed, Mahomes, Kelsey, they're all fantastic. What they've built around them is equally as impressive.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think they're fun. I think the takes are kind of hilarious whenever these come about, because then you have like, are they the new Warriors? Are they the Warriors of the NFL? And it's like, I think they're just really good. I think I guess I can't probably articulate this the best, but like when you watch them, it looks different offensively. What they're doing to opposing defenses looks different. If anything, it's more the Tennessee Volunteers and the Josh Heupel effect here with that Mickey Mouse offense that's made its way to the NFL, which means scoring a lot of points is a lot of fun.
No, stop that right now. We're not doing this. Don't Mickey Mouse bullshit my NFL. Okay, we're not doing that.
Can I just say one thing before we stop talking about the Dolphins?
Mm-hmm. Why do you hate the Dolphins? They're just the Niners, like Mike McDaniel, your old friend.
This is so funny. Okay, so what I was going to say, I'm easily the stupidest person when it comes to football here. I am just a fan that looks and what he sees, he goes, what do I think? And that's it. That's as far as it goes. I don't watch tape. I don't watch film, but I do go off vibes. And most of my life,
the start of this. Okay.
Most of my life, I have been pretty accurate on Twitter and elsewhere by going off of just what I think is logical. So I don't really have a lot to back it up other than watching them score 70 points. I do think that team gave up. But all that aside, I think this is a really different Dolphins team. I don't think this is some like week 2, week 3, like fun to watch type thing. This could be the same team that the Chiefs with Mahomes when they won the Super Bowl. I think this could be that. Literally. Like, is Tua Mahomes? Absolutely not. But Tua's throwing bombs and they're getting caught. Tyreek Hill he catches everything. So my buddy was asking me today, was like, why aren't the Niners destroying people? They've got more weapons, they've got a better offense, yada yada yada. I'm like, because Tua's throwing it to people that do not drop the ball. Like Tyreek catches literally everything. But I think the Dolphins can really beat anybody in the NFL. I would love to. Can you imagine if we got Kyle Shanahan, Master versus the Apprentice?
I mean, that'd be fun. Also, just the great uniform matchup there.
Great uniform matchup.
Obviously, the two historic franchises would be a lot of fun here. My whole thing with the Dolphins, too, and I don't know if this is fair, and I wonder if Dolphins fans feel this way week to week. Like, the shovel pass was awesome from Tua. Like, the no-look stuff. Like, Tua's having fun. He's an easy guy to root for. Also, rooting for a southpaw is just fun because you just don't, as a lefty, it's cool to see left-handed quarterbacks out here thriving. There's not many of us in this sport. But you look at it, and I think for Dolphins fans, you're like, God, this is awesome. I hope he doesn't get hurt. Like, every week, you're just like, I hope our offensive line holds up for another week of fun Dolphins football because you're like, wow, we're really peaking. We could be the best team in the AFC. And you're like, man, it is September 26th. And we have a long way to go to get to a Tagovailoa through this regular season and into a deep playoff run. I think that's the scary thing if you're a Dolphins fan is it just feels like it's a house of cards where it could just fall so quickly and it would hurt so much because how you're seeing how dominant and how good this team can be if they're all healthy in their key spots.
I mean, in terms of, Evan talking about, Tua looking really good and the offense looking really good. They do look really good. And people, again, this is the Dolphins fans that are Aaron Schatz pointed out something on Twitter. He's like, okay, Tua's playing great and the offense is playing great, but like, I think a lot of this is more of the Dolphins system than it is Tua Tagovailoa. You can't say that to Dolphins fans, or else they'll come for your neck. But the thing is like, if they do, let's say they play Kansas City in the playoffs in Arrowhead, that's going to be a big, okay, Tua, that's great that you can play within the system. You can anticipate where guys are going to be, and you can be incredibly efficient. But it feels like eventually you're going to have to get off platform. You're going to have to do something outside the system and really uncork something downfield to really keep your team in it. And that's not Tua's game. And for anybody trying to compare, saying, oh, we didn't do this for Mahomes. Well, Mahomes can do all the things that Tua does, and he can also throw 70 yards on a rope. Tua can't really do that. And again, so far he's shown that the offense and the team don't really need him to do that. That's great. But when the time comes that he does need to do that, then it feels like it's going to be prove it or your SOL.
Yeah.
JP, is CJ Stroud looking like a home run pick for the Texans based on what you saw up close and in person this week? Does he? I can't unsee Black Peyton Manning on Twitter because I saw that with his game and I'm like, I can't unsee this. This is crazy. Like it's similar to when the white Michael Vick with Daniel Jones doing anything last year. We're seeing the same with Stroud. But in terms of actual quarterbacking and what you saw from Stroud and how he picked apart this Jaguars defense, does he look like he's going to be the guy there?
100%. That is a capital G good football player, good quarterback. I have been so impressed with his ability to continue to keep up his really high traits that he had at Ohio State and bring them to the NFL. He has always been a very good anticipation and touch thrower. And that is something that hasn't changed. And the offense is maximizing that to his strengths. He's throwing in breakers before the receiver even breaks out of the route. That's capital A anticipation. There's pass he's hitting to every level of the field. He's doing stuff out of structure. He looks like a home run pick for the Houston Texans so far. Does this mean that he should have been the pick at number one? I'm not going to say that. I think he was my QB1 going into the draft, but I still think that Bryce Young is a fine quarterback. I think Anthony Richardson is going to be really good if he can remain healthy. But CJ Stroud's looking really good right now. I know Devin Achane had the breakout 218-yard game, but CJ Stroud is the leader right now for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't think he's thrown an interception yet.
What did I say, man? I don't know any. I'm not doing pregame. Height matters in the NFL unless you are a god tier elite athlete and quarterback. And I'm not saying that Bryce Young is not going to be that one day, but it's not easy to play in the NFL at that height. And the only way you can do it, as history has shown, is you have to be a Kyler Murray or a Russell Wilson. You have to be so athletic and so fast and so good on your feet. It's a hard thing to try and accomplish. And look at CJ Stroud's 6'2" ass just out here throwing dimes.
Well, I think the thing with Bryce Young, and Panthers fans are kind of feeling bad because Bryce hasn't looked that great, but look at who he's throwing the ball to. Old ass Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, and Jarrett out there catching passes. I don't think that's very good team building. And you can tell, when he's going back to pass, he's holding on to the ball really long because nobody is open. He does not have the schematics. He doesn't even have the receivers that CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson has.
Which, by the way, none of those guys have great receivers either. So that's really saying something about the lack of talent that Carolina has.
Yeah, Carolina has a bottom 5 receiver unit in the NFL right now, probably bottom 3. And that's taking an effect. Jordan Reed always says, not NFL player Jordan Reed, ESPN NFL analyst Jordan Reed always says you want to surround your young quarterbacks with playmakers, protection, and play calling. I think the Panthers have the protection. When Austin Corbett gets back, you will have the protection. Charles Zabala's played really good at left guard. Ike Ekwonu, I think he had his ups and downs early, but he's looked pretty good. Taylor Moton is rock solid. I think the play calling is kind of up and down sometimes, but you don't have the playmakers. You just don't. You knew that going in, and you still didn't address it good enough. Like, I get trading DJ Moore for that number 1 pick. I'd do it again to get Bryce Young, but you don't have the guys right now.
Jarrett, the weirdest result this weekend to you was what?
I mean, the Cardinals-Cowboys feels like a dunk, but I kind of predicted that on Twitter, so I'm going to pat myself on the back for that. Weirdest result outside of that? I mean, if we want to say the Colts-Ravens, but even then, I think the Colts are quietly like Colts and Texans are pretty similar to me, where they have quietly really solid rosters, guys who fit what they want to do. There's a clear vision in mind. If you want to say that, sure. Gardner Minshew, defense got the job done. EJ Speed had a really nice game. Juju Brents had a nice game on defense. Zaire Franklin. What do you clearly want to chime in, Evan?
Do you know what the answer is? The Chargers didn't charge her.
They did not charge her.
The Chargers didn't charge her.
The hype, though.
The Chargers literally were going to charge her, and they didn't do it.
They were almost going to charge, but were out-chargered by the Chargers North.
They did, yeah. Kirk Cousins came in and kicked that fence down, that white picket fence with his Kohl's athleisure clothing. It was like, this is my house. Chargers.
I will say, like, Justin Herbert was phenomenal on Sunday against the Blitz. He looked amazing. I think there's one throw that he has. It's a go route to Mike Williams.
Yep.
And where he puts this ball and where Mike Williams catches it, like, it's an insane throw. And it's showing, like, the thing that I always had a knock against Justin Herbert is he's so much of a football robot that he does not create out of structure as often, or he's not as willing to take the go route when he has it. He did all of that on Sunday, and it was awesome to see. We knew the Vikings would do this, though. We knew the Vikings would be this. It's going to be tough. It's a competitive rebuild. That's what they have said. Like, it's going to be competitive, but you're going to be bad. That's their entire plan.
It also felt weird from Brian Flores, who just kept blitzing, man. Like, it wasn't working, and he's living in freestyle. It's like, keep going, keep sending the house. By the way, you pointed out the blitz stuff. Chris Rin from ESPN pointing out Herbert, 32 of 38, 301 yards, 3 touchdowns against the blitz. That is the most completions, attempts, and passing yards any quarterback has had against the blitz since ESPN began tracking it in 2006.
It's a good football player, but I mean, that's what Brian Flores does. That's if you're gonna blitz, die on the sword, fall on the sword. Go full Wink Martindale against the Niners. Wink Martindale exclusively blitz. Make him make a mistake. Don't switch up.
Sure.
Don't switch up and let him pick you apart.
Don't do Dean Pease the last 2 years in Atlanta.
Yeah, no, don't switch up. Don't switch up. Commit to the bit.
Yeah.
The only thing I could think of when I saw the end of the game and like how well Herbert had played is it reminded me of like all of the Shohei Ohtani memes. You know what I mean? Where it's like
Tansanamo too again through
Shohei Ohtani breaks the record for most home runs in a game, and the Angels lose. Like,
Mike Trout goes 4 for 5 with 3 doubles, and Shohei Ohtani hits 9 home runs as the Angels fall 12-10 to the Tigers.
But literally, though, that's like what it reminded me of. I'm very happy to see Justin Herbert win that game, but please, like, they should have fired him after that win. I don't care.
After the win?
Yes.
Okay, so
I don't know.
Yes.
I know the big thing was the 4th down conversion, and I went back and watched the game today. I don't hate going for it. I don't hate it. I hate the play call, though. I hate taking the ball out of Justin Herbert's hands. Like,
tell me, would you guys seriously, do you think that right now, if they fired him and had Kellen Moore be the head coach, would they play better?
I don't think I don't think Kellen Moore is ready to be a head coach because I don't think Kellen Moore is that great.
I didn't ask if he's ready. I don't know if he's ready, but would the team play better?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. The defense will just fall off a cliff, and they're already off the cliff.
I mean that's
that JC Jackson signing.
Is defense and discipline from the defense is the biggest problem right now. Like, you look at the first 2 games, they were undone by stupid penalties by the defense that either extended drives like they did against Tennessee. They could have got off the field twice, and it was a drive was extended by dumb penalties. Then Ryan Tannehill runs in a touchdown. Week 1, the J.C. Jackson penalty where he just shoves Jalen Waddle at the end of the half, and it gives the Dolphins a field goal. Like, the defense is either giving up too many yards, yielding too many dumb mistakes, or a combination of both. And we're seeing the end results of that.
Yeah. Final thing here before we go. Thank you for not coaching. It's one of my favorite portions of this very program each week. JP, who are you thanking for not coaching well this week in the NFL?
I want to make sure I get his name right before I clown him.
It's always good.
Let's make sure we get it right. Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator Tim Kelly.
Okay.
Thank you for not coaching. You knew going in that Myles Garrett was going to be a problem. 3.5 sacks later, I still don't think he thinks Myles Garrett is going to be a problem. Nothing worked. Nothing. And I don't even think they tried doing multiple things. Like, it was just, hey, we're going to leave this backup left tackle, or Andre Dillard, who was a backup left tackle. We're going to leave him on an island against the best edge rusher in football. And sure, we'll see what happens there. But nothing was going to help against a Browns defense that is really, really good. This was actually my most surprising game of the weekend because I thought this game would be closer.
Yeah,
I thought it'd be a closer game, but the Browns dominated the Titans the entire game. It was 27-3. The Titans couldn't get anything going offensively. Deshaun Watson.
Was it just offensive line play or what was it?
It starts up front. If you can't block, your entire game plan changes, and especially against a Jim Schwartz-led defense that knows when you can't block. So he's going to throw everything and the kitchen.
Was that a sneaky under the radar, just like game changer coordinator hire this offseason?
Absolutely.
I knew going in this was going to be so fun. Getting Jim Schwartz and then signing or trading for Zadarius Smith and signing Ogunaya Okoronkwo was going to unlock Myles Garrett to unseen levels of domination. But yeah, I did not think this game was going to be a blowout. Deshaun Watson played his best game as a Brown, despite throwing the ball behind him.
He only did it once, though.
Only did it once.
Aaron Brooks.
Only did it once, though. But it was his best
Aaron
game
Brooks.
he's played as a Cleveland Brown, which I don't know if that's exciting or alarming that is his best game as a Cleveland Brown. But, Tim Kelly, man, that's rough, buddy.
Would a different quarterback make sense? Would Malik Willis or Will Levis do anything?
Do not throw Will Levis out there. No.
Please throw Will Levis out there.
It'd be so much more fun to throw Will Levis out there.
It would not. Will Levis's biggest problem coming out of college was he did not sense pressure. He couldn't sense pressure at all.
Yeah.
His shot clock meter is never on. He's going to stay in that pocket no matter what. He doesn't feel pressure very, very well at all. You throw him out there against the Browns. I don't know. I don't remember what number the Browns finished with sack-wise, but it goes high. It's higher with Will Levis in there instead of Ryan Tannehill. Let's see. The Browns finished with 5 sacks. Yeah, that's at least like 8 or 9 with Will Levis back there. It's a real Sam Howell versus Buffalo kind of thing.
Man, speaking of Sam Howell there, that was tough. Jarrett,
Nice.
the Washington
It wasn't a great matchup for Washington. And look, no one was expecting the Commanders to come in and just be world beaters and take on all of these great teams and destroy them. They came back last week from 21-3 and won the game. Kudos to them. Sam Howell, first year as a starter, played very badly. Threw 4 interceptions. The Bills took away the ball 5 times. It was a bad offensive performance. Am I going to pack it in on the Commanders? No, I still think they're going to be in the mix for a wild card spot.
I could see it. Evan, closing thoughts?
Yeah, I want to do my own version of thank you for not coaching.
Do you have one?
We
can expand this out. This was just the film grind. Okay, we can expand this out. That's more than okay. All right.
Mine is Mike McCarthy.
I was told all vibes 15 minutes ago, and now he's diving into the tape.
Again, I'm not going to the tape. I'm just saying let's just talk about the subject matter. Thank you for not coaching. Last week, there was a Mike McCarthy deserves an apology tweet that was like won some analyst. Mike McCarthy deserves an apology. We were giving another quarterback and head coach tandem a lot of shit for 40 attempted passes and 210 yards. Dak had 40 attempted passes and 249 yards and an interception. Tony Pollard had 23 carries. Like, that is an offense that's not working. 23 carries, 40 attempted passes, 16 points. That is an offense that is not working. And
so,
guys,
I don't know if the offense is not working play calling wise. I think the Cowboys and the Jaguars offenses are both extremely similar. They're not built on explosives. They are built on being uber efficient in the 10 to 15 yard range, which means every single thing has to be perfect. You can't go 0 for 3 in the red zone. Nope. You have to score touchdowns, and they did not score touchdowns in the red zone.
What would you say the biggest cause of not scoring in the red zone is?
Oh, they couldn't run the ball.
Play calling.
They couldn't run the ball. They were missing 3 offensive linemen.
Dog, I get it, but like,
Swords, you just need to accept the fact that the Cowboys are good, and they had a bad week.
And you got Josh Dobbs. Who hasn't been Josh Dobbs? When you get the VFL in there.
First off, I wish I wish I could get Josh Dobbs.
Everyone does. Josh Dobbs is the best backup quarterback in the NFL.
I'm not saying the Cowboys are bad. By all means, I do think the Cardinals are a little bit better than people expected, but I do think week 3 was let's get expectations back down to reality. You saw what the Bills did. You saw obviously what happened to the Cowboys. You saw what happened to the Jaguars, right? Like, these are like, are any of these teams like bad? But it like kind of brought reality back into place and shed some light on things. The Cowboys are going to miss having Diggs. That's a huge loss. I don't think that was the reason they lost. I think it was the offense.
The defense couldn't stop the run either. I mean, the Cardinals got really creative with the run game, and Dallas got into the red zone. Just Dak threw a bad interception to Kazir White that really kind of sealed the deal.
Right. But like, listen, 28 points for the Cowboys shouldn't be. The Cowboys should be able to. I mean, they've been.
Bro, every team is going to have.
We can have
one bad game.
We can have this conversation next week after the 49ers play the Cardinals.
Even then, though, bro, like, every team is going to, like, the Chiefs lost to the Colts at this point last year, and it didn't mean shit when the playoffs came around. This isn't going to mean anything in a month. Anything at all.
I mean, I guess the difference there is people have a lot more faith in Patrick Mahomes.
And that's completely fair.
I get it. I get what you're saying. And I think this is kind of a mulligan week for the Cowboys. I think they deserve a mulligan here because they were missing 3 of their 5 starters on the offensive line, including the best guard in football is Zach Martin. He did not play. Tyler Biadasz, starting center, did not play. Tyron Smith, left tackle, did not play. When you're missing a large majority of the offensive line, you're not going to be able to score. The offensive line and trench play is so important. It changes your game plan. And
I get it. I don't know, man. I was really surprised they didn't use Tony Pollard in the passing game at all. It's kind of the reason why they were so
Rico Dowdle, buddy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Rico had the same amount of receptions, but 26 more yards. Tony Pollard was -1 yard for 3 receptions. I
think Dallas is going to be fine. I hesitantly picked them to come out of the NFC. A little bit harder to see that now with Trayvon Diggs gone for the year. I think they'll make a move for a cornerback. It just feels like something that they should do. But I think they'll be okay.
I don't think they're going to make a move for a cornerback. They have like 12 corners on the roster. DeRon Bland's going to move outside. They have like 7 safeties who can play nickel or linebacker. So I don't think they're going to make a move. I just think it's just a mulligan. This NFL shit happens.
playing against
Well-
a head coach who's familiar with them too. Jonathan Gannon spent time in Philadelphia. Obviously,
That's
there's
true.
some familiarity there. So I agree. I think Dallas is going to be fine. Chalk it. You're not going to win every game. Every team is going to play a game at least once a year where they lose to a team that they shouldn't lose to, and this is one for Dallas.
I gotta say though, I mean, as a 49ers fan, like especially when there's only one first round bye now, it's good to see, right? You like seeing the Cowboys lose a game. Yeah, it's good to see, right? I'm hoping that we can continue that pace. But the Eagles,
God, and this is a week removed from him being like, I think we have to admit that the Cowboys are good, and he's just back on. He has been waiting. He's like that meme of like men are just like the dudes who are like we're done, season's over, and it's like we're so back. That's
so
Evan with
back.
the Cowboys. We are so back. The Cowboys are who they thought they were.
It's a constant cycle of it's so over. And
Yes,
we are so bad.
That's Evan with the Cowboys.
You guys, we talked all offseason about how the Cardinals have maybe the worst roster in the NFL. Like
it happens.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it doesn't. I'm just saying you think I'm not gonna see walk on the Cowboys losing to the Cardinals.
Oh, I get it. 100%.
I'm gonna see walk on the Cowboys losing to the Cardinals.
100%. I respect it. I respect it.
I'm dusting the
The
shoe.
fortune for him just with the Niners each week. It's in faux concern when the Giants are doing anything positive. It's like, what's going to happen? Brock Purdy really struggling a little bit. No, you're fine.
Me watching the 49ers is it's Jover, and then we are so back.
I like it. Jarrett, your thank you for not coaching this week as we wrap up here tonight.
Dennis Allen and Joe Woods. Thank you for not coaching.
That was gonna be mine.
I love this. This is my music. Turn that up.
The New Orleans Saints are the most they were 2-0 coming into this week and nobody gave a damn, nor should they, because they beat two bad teams and didn't look good doing it. And then Derek Carr goes down. It looks like he avoided, serious injury, which is good. You hold a 17-0 lead going into the fourth quarter, win the game. I don't care. Win the game.
No, like it's not. It legitimately was 17-0, and the game ended 18-17.
The Packers scored 18 unanswered points all in the fourth quarter. And look, credit to Jordan Love who played a bad game for 3 quarters, and he played fantastic in the fourth quarter. That's a really nice win for the Packers, who right now they're sitting at 2-1. Matt LaFleur, thank you for coaching and keeping everybody at bay and never saying die in terms of this. But you're up 17-0. I don't give a damn what happens. Win the game. And Dennis Allen, Joe Woods, thank you very much for not coaching and letting the Packers score 18 unanswered in 1 quarter to walk it off.
I will say it's very smart of Matt LaFleur after the first touchdown to go for 2 instantly, because then you get it out the way early. Like now you can be like, we're going to go for 2 in a game that they won by 1. Like it's very smart instead of like, we're just going to kick the field goal or extra point here and we'll settle for overtime. Like, no, try and win the game here. Let's get real aggressive. And I think that's also helped by, of course, Derek Carr getting hurt, which luckily he avoided serious injury.
Yeah.
I wonder how long he's going to be out. But yeah, man, you go up 17-0 and lose 18-17. That is rough. And that's rough for everybody involved, especially that defense. And the defense was good for like 3 quarters.
Jordan Love also looks really good. Jordan Love is going to be he's
the completion
good,
percentage
man.
And everything is going to come up, but through 3 weeks, he looks very, very good. It was 7 touchdowns to 1 pick. He's got a rushing touchdown to go along with it. Teammates.
You can tell he's been watching Aaron Rodgers in practice for 3 years.
Bro,
the mannerisms.
Yes.
It looks
so much. So did JP Acosta.
It looks so similar from the cadence to the mannerisms to the little sidearm throws. I'm like, this dude has watched exclusively Aaron Rodgers for the last 4 years of his life.
Yeah.
Because you can tell. But it's very cool. I'm happy to see him like actually succeeding. And again, this team didn't have Bakhtiari, Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, or Jair Alexander.
I'm so happy for the Packers. It's really nice to see like a new generation of quarterbacks to lose to the 49ers in the playoffs. It's nice, right? Because it's like their kids got to watch it. Now their kids get to watch it. It's great. You love tradition, and I'm happy for the Packers.
But also, they're dogs at home against the Lions this week, which is like the first time they've been home dogs to the Lions in some preposterous number. It's like 50 years or something, I think I saw.
Man, that makes sense. Like, Lions freaking stink.
And they're favored in Green Bay. Like, I was surprised to see them favored out of the gate here. But we'll see how that ultimately
And not
goes.
to mention the fact that, like, coming into the season, it was, oh man, this is the Bears' time to really take control.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And now it's,
not only is it not the Bears' time, it's not even close to the Bears' time. Like,
we talked about a cycle of it's Jover, and we're so back. They're just stuck on a cycle of it's Jover.
It's Jover.
It's even more
It's
Jover. It's never been more Jover.
Hey,
How do
the more
how do you-
things change, the more they stay the same in the NFC North.
How do you steal multiple lawnmowers? and not like push lawnmowers either. These are the big riding lawnmowers. How do you go and break into a NFL facility, leave with multiple lawnmowers and shit, and nobody sitting there, security being like, that was kind of weird. Maybe we should ask him about that. I need to know, did he wear like the high vis vest? Did he wear like a hard hat with like some? Did he wear some like Chicago Bears decals?
You're like, is this the town? Did they recreate the town here? What happened?
Was this an elaborate heist planned by some random man in Naperville who wanted to steal the Bears lawnmowers as retribution? Like, what is?
If you're gonna steal my hours on Sundays, I'm getting something out of this. I'm getting a John Deere.
I'm leaving here with something.
The Denzel Washington gift.
I need to know. I need to talk to this man. I need to interview the brave soul who stole these lawnmowers from the Bears. So I just need to know how. Like,
and you should be arrested. Like, if they ever catch him, it should be like he should get a medal for actually getting away with it. That's like one of those, no, you earned it. Like, pulling this off against them, no, it's fine.
Do you guys? What do you think the worst, like, not worst case, but like the biggest blow up could possibly happen with the Bears by the end of the season? Like, do you think Justin Fields could get traded at all?
No,
I don't think he gets traded right now.
I think he gets benched though. I think that could happen, and he's just sat, and then he's like, no trade value.
For who? Yeah, who's their backup?
Their backup is Tyson Badgett.
Throw him in there, baby.
He's a rookie. He was at the Senior Bowl. He looked bad.
Oh, one thing, not good at the Senior Bowl.
One thing I want to ask you guys: if Jimmy's got a concussion, Brian Hoyer was the number 2 last week. Why? Why wouldn't you play Aiden O'Connell after his preseason?
He's the emergency third quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they wanted to go with experience as a backup
because they're still trying to win games
after what he did in the preseason.
Allegedly, they're allegedly trying to win games.
Yes, that is. I think that's.
Have you seen Brian Hoyer play football?
I just love that everyone's like, obviously go Aiden O'Connell. It's like Aiden O'Connell might be awful. Like he's a 6th round pick. Like most of those guys don't work out. Like maybe, I don't know, but probably not.
In the preseason.
Not everyone's Brock Purdy, Evan. You've been conditioned to assume that all the late round quarterbacks work out.
Dog, I am. Trust me. For every Brock Purdy, there's a Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance.
Those are all early 1st round picks, though. Is what I'm saying.
But I'm just saying. I know rookie quarterbacks can play like shit. But also, Trey Lance cut his hair. Jerry immediately was like, "Get that fro out of my."
Well,
he looks like Dak.
He was
he's like, you better get a high and tight right now, boy.
It's because he looks like Trey Young. Like it was time.
It was
trust me.
Young.
I think he should have got a haircut. I'm just saying, Jerry Jones is a racist.
I will say for the Bears, it can get so much worse. As a team who,
what are we talking about? Like stealing like TVs or like?
As a team who employed Urban Meyer during the pandemic. It can get so much worse from here.
Oh yeah,
like it can get real ugly, and it's already ugly.
I will say I don't think Fields is back next year.
No, it's probably over. I don't know how. Like this kind of development, it's just probably over. He's going to bounce around.
He becomes like the 49ers backup.
No, I don't.
Atlanta Falcons 2024 quarterback Justin Fields.
No.
How about it?
No.
Yeah.
Austin Smith would love him.
I just. After so much, like after this much, he's had so many bad snaps now and had so many bad offensive coordinators and situations that it's probably over. Like these guys usually don't bounce back from this. Like they usually,
it's scar tissue. It's It sucks. I think he's going to be back with the Bears mainly because I don't think any team's going to trade for him.
Yeah.
But I do think Eberflus and Getsy are both gone by at least like week 10.
So you think that they get fired within the season?
When is their
Eberflus is
bye
getting
week?
fired in the season. Well, the problem is now Alan Williams is out. So you don't have like an interim DC here or interim coach because Luke Getsy has to go if you fire Eberflus. So it's like, who would be the interim coach? Do you bring back Lovey? Does Lovey coach it out the rest of the year like Bob Stoops at Oklahoma? Do you bring back Lovey Smith?
I mean, you could. You can make Kevin Warren's got some connections. You can make some phone calls.
Oh my God, the Big Ten connection, him at
Their
Illinois
bye
when he's
week comes after November 27th. So I think that's
Monday Night Football.
14.
After a Monday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings.
that. If you're talking about a good PR way to spin this whole season, Bears fans still love Lovey Smith, and obviously he had a lot of success there. The season's over, bring him back. Lovey coaching the remainder of the season, and just whatever you get is great. Also, we saw the Colts hire Jeff Saturday out of high school here back in Atlanta. So anything's possible. They can just the NFL owners can do whatever they want. Like they can just be like, what's Rick Grossman up to right now? All right, he's the new acting interim head coach the rest of the way.
Yeah, but Jim Irsay makes decisions off of Perk 3000. That's not normal.
I mean, but hold on. Who's the Bears owner right now?
Oh, I think it's still is it still Virginia McCaskey?
I was going to say, is it her? Okay. I didn't want to say that. I wasn't sure off the top of my head if it was still her.
It's a great trivia question.
It is. She's still the owner, and she is 100 years old.
Wow.
I don't know if she's
Happy Centennial.
JP.
Virginia McCaskey.
JP, real quick, should I be Tengen Uzui for Halloween?
100, absolutely. Yes.
Right?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Right? I gotta start doing some curls.
Same.
Curls, lat raises, get the shoulders.
I feel like you and I, Chase, are more in the same boat when it comes to this lack of gym conversation. I'm not a gym guy.
I was a runner and then I broke my foot and now I'm just a walker and hiker.
I'm a sit on my butt and drink coffee-er.
I do that too.
Yeah, well, hey, congratulations for you guys having like good mental health. I don't have that. Right? I don't have that luxury.
I mean,
who said I had good mental health, Evan Swartz?
If you have bad mental health and you're not working out, you're an insane person.
I mean, he's gotten banned off Hinge. I think that is.
You got some demons that you got to work out, dog. I'll tell you that much.
You think The Exorcist is a scary movie? You should see my cell phone. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, you're on a list, aren't you, Doug?
Come on. No, I'm just leaning into the joke now. Come on. Nothing bad.
There are probably federal agents watching this.
I just got a text from my FBI agent.
You are on a list.
My FBI agent just texted my phone. He's like, "You better knock this off right now."
Chill out, boss. Dog.
Oh my God.
In all seriousness, mentally, I am good. I'm just not a gym guy. I'm a rock climber guy. That's what I do.
Rock climbing terrifies me, but that's really cool. That's really cool. Tomorrow's chest day, by the way.
Tomorrow's an everything day.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jared, by the way, boys, I hope you understand. Your boy is about to get absolutely jacked. Like I am me.
Why are you pointing that out to me specifically? What was that? Why was that directed towards me? Why did I specifically have to know that you were getting jacked?
No, I'm saying you guys in general.
Blow up is real.
Oh.
I am on a mission.
Are you about to come kick my ass? What's happening here? You're like, hey, I'm coming. I'm getting strong. I'm flying to Tennessee and it's go time.
No, I'm coming. I'm coming to Tennessee, brother.
Like you're about to cut a promo. I was like, what is happening over here? Why are you targeting me with your I'm supporting you and you're just like yelling at me that you're getting big and you're getting strong. I'm like, Evan, I'm cheering for you.
Someone called me a George. They said you're George Kittle without the muscles, and I was like, I'll fucking show you.
Oh, you.
I no, but literally, someone actually told me they were like, you look, talk, and act exactly like George Kittle. I was like, yeah, I know. He's like the Pokemon evolution of me.
So are you like if champ?
Yeah.
If I were, no, what are they?
Oh, he's like Charizard, and I'm Charmander.
Yeah.
Like if I evolved, I'd grow hair and it'd get longer and I'd get bigger muscles. I'd be George Kittle.
Hey Evan, you're good the way you are, man.
I disagree.
Now you are.
Broken
that's what-
inside.
And that's why we go to the gym.
That's why we go to the gym, boys.
Well, JP, Jarrett, Evan, all very good, just the way they are. And grateful to have them on this very program each and every week, talking all things NFL. JP, Jarrett, Evan, thank you as always. And I'll talk to y'all next week.